So is there actually any life lessons we can take from Friday the 13th movies? Well, to be honest, there's actually quite a few of them. For instance, did you ever get the feeling that something bad is creeping up behind you and you just know that you probably should have paid more attention to it earlier? Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding, or maybe it's a deadline at work you've been ignoring. Or, well, let's be honest, it could just be a pair of socks lying on the floor you know is going to trip you up later on. Take any of these, multiply the anxiety by a dozen, add a lake and some questionable camp counselors, and boom, welcome to Friday the 13th. Now, most people think it's just a slasher flick with a hockey mask, and sure, there is a guy in there with a big knife. And yeah, there's blood, lots of blood, but the real lessons here, awareness, responsibility, and how your life choices, even the tiny ones, ripple out in ways you never imagined. So let's start off and take the campers at Crystal Lake. They start the movie thinking that this is all about fun, there's no rules, there's no consequences, just the usual teenage mix of flirting, pranks, and ignoring warning signs. And then reality checks in the most brutal way possible. Life works the same way. These little shortcuts we take, these things we ignore because nothing bad can happen, often come back around to bite us in the ass, metaphorically, or in the case of the movie, quite literally. So, fear is a huge part of the lesson here, and I don't mean the fake movie fear of like the monster under the bed type of fear. I mean that slow, creeping kind that grows when we're oblivious, when we shrug off instinct, and when we think we're invincible. It starts small, a missing note on our to-do list, a hunch ignored, a warning sign we overlooked, and suddenly it becomes a full-blown crisis. Now, the movie exaggerates all that, obviously because horror needs drama, but life isn't much different. If you avoid a problem long enough, it becomes something you can't ignore. Then there's responsibility. The campers who survive aren't the luckiest. They're the ones paying attention. They notice patterns, they respect each other's boundaries, and they act decisively when it counts. That's the difference between thriving and being consumed by circumstances you could have managed. It's the difference between getting to the end of the week feeling accomplished and, well, let's just say it, not ending up as the final scene in the slasher movie. And if you think you can skate through life by ignoring advice, rules, or instincts, Friday the 13th is a polite but firm reminder. Karma has a mask, and it's very, very, very patient. But let's not make this all doom and gloom. The movie also teaches courage and resourcefulness. It's the characters who adapt on the fly, who notice what the others miss, and who act under pressure who actually get through the night. That translates directly into life. Life throws us, Jason-sized challenges all the time, with unexpected conflicts, scary conversations, and problems that we've been sweeping underneath the rug. How we respond, whether with, focus, preparation, and a bit of bravery, determines the outcome far more than sheer luck. Now let's talk about that ripple effect. One ignored warning sign, one careless choice, one I don't need to listen moment, that can create consequences far bigger than we imagined. It's true in the movie, and it's also true in real life. Small actions accumulate. Paying attention, speaking up, following through on commitments, these aren't glamorous, but they keep the chaos at bay. And if you don't keep the chaos at bay, well, sometimes it comes back like a hockey mask man you didn't see coming. Now, there's also a lesson in accountability. In the end, consequences aren't random. They trace back to decisions, actions, or even inactions. Life's sharks, problems, conflicts, mistakes, often have names, and they often know exactly who ignored the warning signs. The movie dramatizes it, sure, but the principle applies. Your choices matter. Even small ones, even the ones nobody sees. Accountability is less about punishment, more about owning the reality that your actions affect not just you, but everyone around you. So take a breath and think. Where in your life are you ignoring the signs? Where are you cutting corners or assuming rules don't apply? Where are you relying on luck instead of awareness? And when the scary stuff shows up, deadlines, conflicts, life challenges, how do you respond? Do you freeze, panic, or shrug it off? Or do you notice, assess, and act upon it? Because Friday the 13th, beyond the gore and the screams, is really about paying attention, taking responsibility, and finding the courage to respond before it's too late. Fear is inevitable. mistakes happen, but a combination of awareness, preparation, courage, and accountability, that's what keeps you out of metaphorical or literal trouble. And every small choice you make adds up. Now, the campers who survive don't have superpowers, they just make better decisions under pressure. Life works the same way. So, movie hands us lessons, life hands us choices. And the magic happens when you notice both and decide to act. So next time the water seems calm, the emails sit unanswered, or the instinct nags at you, remember, the signs are there. Pay attention. Act. Be responsible. Face fear head on, and maybe, just maybe, you'll survive, thrive, and have a better story to tell than anyone else at the lake. So if this gave you something to think about, give us a nod with a like, drop a comment, and hit subscribe for more real-life lessons hiding inside the movies. And don't forget, Is This Movie Relevant series where we explore the films that shaped pop culture and why they still matter today. Check it out. They're fun. See you in the next one.